In the caves of Elcidron in northern Spain, archaeologists uncovered a harrowing scene that would change everything we thought we knew about Neanderthals. And what's more, it may be the first known case of Neanderthals consuming modern human blood. We are them, and they were us, and their blood was spilled by Neanderthals. Buried within this cave were the dismembered remains of at least 12 Neanderthal individuals, men, women, and children. Their bones bore the unmistakable marks of deliberate butchery, skulls cracked open, long bones smashed for marrow, and clear signs of cannibalism. But this was no simple tale of survival or starvation, it was murder. The victims in Elcidron were not random outcasts or victims of famine. They were a family, genetically related and genetically unique. What made them different may have been precisely what sealed their fate. Recent DNA studies reveal that the Elcidron Neanderthals were not just another group of archaic humans clinging to life in Ice Age Europe. Their blood, once coursing through their veins 49,000 years ago, was identical to that of modern humans. This family carried a deletion of nucleotide position 261 in the ABO gene, the identical genetic marker that defines the modern type 001 blood, the most common blood group on Earth today. This was not some distant cousin of our blood, but our blood exactly. What this means is stunning. It suggests that these Neanderthals had interbred with Homo sapiens and shared a genetic heritage that bound them to our kind in a way more intimate than previously believed. While the O blood type has been found in Neanderthals elsewhere, the Elcidron variant is genetically indistinguishable from blood type 001 in living humans, particularly Eurasian populations. Some researchers speculate that this allele may have entered Neanderthal populations through introgression with early Homo sapiens, possibly as recent as 55,000 years ago, given evidence of modern humans at Grotte-Mandrin in France at this time. In this light, the Iberian Neanderthals, those of Elcidron and Gibraltar, might not have been seen as kin by their northern relatives, but as outcasts, as different. To understand what happened at Elcidron, we must grasp the broader picture of Neanderthal diversity. For decades, Neanderthals were painted with a single stereotype: massive brow ridges, barrel chests, big game hunters of the north. But the Iberian Neanderthals challenged that image. They were more gracile, with finer facial features and less pronounced mid-facial projection than their counterparts in Western France, such as the hulking individuals from La Ferracie and La Chapelle-aux-Saints. Their bones bear reduced muscle attachments, suggesting a life less physically taxing. This wasn't due to weakness, it was due to a different lifestyle. The Gibraltar Neanderthals, who lived further south at sites like Gorham's and Vanguard Caves, thrived as coastal foragers. They collected mollusks, hunted seabirds, and perhaps even trapped seals. Their diet, far from the stereotypical Neanderthal mammoth roast, leaned heavily toward the marine and the vegetarian. This shift in diet was likely not only ecological, but cultural. It was a different way of life, and likely a different way of thinking. Their lighter bones and more delicate facial structures were echoes of that shift, and possibly interbreeding. And here lies the crux of the tragedy. When the family at Elcidron was slaughtered, their killers likely came from the north, more robust, heavily muscled, and perhaps more traditional Neanderthals who hunted reindeer and mammoth across Ice Age plains. These classic Neanderthals had no type 001 blood allele. They had likely not mixed with Homo sapiens and may have seen their southern cousins as something other, something foreign. The idea that Neanderthals could turn on one another out of fear, out of a sense of difference, resonates with one of the darkest impulses of humanity, xenophobia. But there could be a biological reason as well. Archaeological evidence from the site is unequivocal. The bones from Elcidron show signs of defleshing, deliberate dismemberment, and marrow extraction. This was not a burial gone wrong or a scavenging episode. This was calculated. And the fact that it occurred in a family unit, multiple generations all related, suggests the motive was not about individual conflict, but the eradication of a group. The southern Neanderthals, with their modern human blood and softer ways, were systematically eliminated by their more pure northern kin. But what makes this story even more unsettling is that the genes of the Elcidron people live on. Genetic analyses reveal that most of the Neanderthal DNA still found in modern humans today is more closely related to the Elcidron group and their southern European relatives than to the northern classic types. This includes not only the type 001 blood allele, but also genes involved in immunity, skin tone, metabolism, and even skull shape and brain development. In short, we carry the legacy of those who were hunted down. And yet, despite this legacy, despite our shared blood, the Elcidron family fell victim to the very instincts they may have shared with us. As the paper suggests, if Neanderthals had our creativity, they may also have had our destructiveness. The line between humanity and inhumanity is paper-thin and often blurred. The Elcidron Massacre may be the earliest known act of xenophobic violence in human history. Neanderthals eating other Neanderthals not because of famine, but because of hatred. Morphologically, these differences were stark. Elcidron. Neanderthals had smaller brow ridges, flatter faces, and narrower noses than their northern kin. These traits might have been influenced by environmental pressures such as warmer Iberian climates or dietary factors. But they also align with traits seen in early modern humans. The resemblance was more than skin deep. Their mitochondrial DNA aligns closely with individuals found at Forbes Quarry in Gibraltar and others from Galeria de las Estatuas in Spain. One genome from the French Riviera even matched this lineage, suggesting that the Mediterranean Neanderthal population once stretched from Gibraltar, northern Spain, to southern France before it was overrun. And here we encounter Thorin, a name given to one Neanderthal whose genome was sequenced from the Rhône Valley region in France. Thorin was most closely related to Gibraltar, and his DNA tells a remarkable story. While classic Neanderthals occupied much of northern and central Europe, this Mediterranean population may have persisted in southern refuges, clinging to the coastlines and river valleys, their way of life distinct and enduring. These groups used Neronian tools, more primitive and conservative, compared to the Châtelperronian blades favoured by northern Neanderthals. It was a cultural divide as much as a genetic one. Even the Rhône River, though not a geographic barrier, served as a cultural boundary. As archaeologist Ludovic Slimak notes, Neanderthal behaviour and tools changed dramatically on either side of this river. It's possible that Thorin's people were the last vestiges of a Neanderthal lineage that once spanned the Mediterranean before being pushed back by more dominant populations, first their northern cousins and later Homo sapiens. But was blood type the real reason for this cultural divide? As more Neanderthal genomes are sequenced, we find that the differences between groups were not just skin deep. In addition to the ABO gene, other blood group polymorphisms reveal that Neanderthals had more variation than previously thought. They didn't all carry blood type O. Some had A or B alleles, and many had unique configurations of the Rh blood system and other red cell markers. As paleoanthropologist Silvana Condemi puts it, red cell blood groups are powerful anthropological markers. They are keys to unlocking hidden relationships, population movements, and even ancient divisions. But blood can also be a curse. Certain Neanderthal blood group configurations made their offspring vulnerable to hemolytic disease of the fetus and newborn, a devastating condition where a Neanderthal's mother's immune system attacks her baby's blood. This condition, common in mismatched blood types, could have weakened Neanderthal reproductive success. Combined with inbreeding and reduced genetic diversity, these blood incompatibilities might have hastened their extinction. Ironically, the very blood that makes Elcidron Neanderthals seem so human may have played a role in their demise. And here we come to a startling conclusion. Could this disease be the reason that the Elcidron Neanderthals were murdered? Did the offspring of their women who married into other tribes carry this horrible disease? Was this the reason for the cultural divide on the Rhône River in France? Neanderthals were smart, but they were also likely very superstitious. And yet their legacy endures. We carry their blood, their genes. Some of us carry the same type 001 allele that was once passed between generations in a cave in northern Spain. We carry their immune quirks, their skin pigments, even their diurnal rhythms. The modern human genome is a graveyard of forgotten Neanderthals, but also a celebration of survival. We didn't replace them. We absorbed them. Even as some Neanderthals hunted and killed others for being different, the line between us and them was already blurred. So when we speak of cannibalism at Elcidron, we are not simply talking about meat. We are talking about blood, both literal and figurative. These Neanderthals didn't just eat their own kind, they ate modern human blood. They consumed the future. In doing so, they reveal a shocking truth, that our organized violence did not begin with civilization. It began in the caves, on windswept hillsides, in the long twilight of the Ice Age. The blood spilled at Elcidron is the blood in our veins. Epilogue. We know that Neanderthals and modern humans overlapped in Europe for thousands of years, yet the gene flow we observe is strikingly one-sided, from Neanderthals into modern humans, not the reverse. Several theories attempt to explain this imbalance. One possibility is simply a lack of sufficient data, since relatively few Neanderthal genomes have been fully sequenced. But there may be deeper reasons. Perhaps Neanderthal genes offered specific advantages to modern humans, such as stronger immune responses, and were retained through natural selection, whereas modern human genes were less useful to Neanderthals and thus faded out. Social dynamics could also have played a crucial role. It may come down to social practices. Children born from these interspecies unions might have been raised within modern human groups, but not within Neanderthal communities. Archaeologist Ludovic Slimak believes the pattern reflects a gendered migration, that Neanderthal women joined Homo sapiens bands, while the reverse rarely, if ever, occurred. Whether the genetic imbalance stemmed from biology, culture, or both, it seems to have been a slow and complex unraveling. The idea that a single catastrophic event, like a volcanic eruption, wiped out the Neanderthals is misleading, says Slimak. Humans don't die in bim-bam-booms, they die in whispers. Anthropologist Chris Stringer added that this asymmetry had devastating consequences. Their already small populations were losing reproductive age individuals to the other species without any return, creating a demographic death spiral. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe, leave a comment and a like.